Hey everyone, welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Nerdarchist Ted, and we're going to play some 5th edition D&D tonight. This is a sponsored game by RPG Crate. Every month they provide these awesome, campaign prep, adventure cards, whatever have you. There's typically enough for hours and hours worth of provided material. I tend to cut this down a little bit to be able to fit in a nice streamlined package. So tonight we're actually going to take the first card and toss it out of the way. If you like what you see and you want to get RPG Crate, down in the description below is the link to it, as well as a coupon code that will get you 10% off your first month subscription. So I'm going to introduce our players. You guys can say who you are, what you're playing. If you happen to be doing something and you want to share that, that's a great thing too. So take it away, Megan.
Oh, hi. I am Megan R. Miller. I'm an author. You can find my stuff on Amazon. The R is important. You won't be able to find me without it. I will be playing Anwen, the Hill Dwarf Druid, tonight.
And AJ. I think you muted?
I am muted. Yes. I have a mute my mic, and I always forget about it. I'm Asa Kinney. I am a writer here with Nerdarchy, and I'll be playing Aiden Valero, a gnome wizard.
Ooh, that's a good name.
Thank you.
James.
I'm James Leslie, also a writer with Nerdarchy, and moderator of several of the chats and streams now, and glutton for punishment generally. I'll be playing human fighter battler named Lance Volcaris.
And last but certainly not least...
Hey, Jake, Complacent Badger. I will be playing a human ranger knight, Fritjof. And, not doing anything awesome, just living life.
Nice. Alright, so you find yourselves in the town of Valesgate. A day and a half ago, amongst your travels, whether you've been traveling together or not, the storm has been raging. Torrential downpours, serious amounts of thunder and lightning, and has pushed you into the town just to get dry. Throughout the first night, you've heard many screams, and should you choose to investigate, there were several attacks by creatures of the night, the undead, and they've set upon the town. If you've chosen to help defend the town, you manage to save a few lives before the night passes. The following day, it's up to you to determine what is going to be causing this issue. It's not natural, I tell you. What has she got left of her? Reading the wrong book. It doesn't matter how short the trip from cradle to grave, so long as there is someone left to weep. The Curse of Vale's Gate. So you are in the town. It is set upon by undead. It's up to you as to choose where to go and figure out what is going on with this town and why there are so much undead.
Well, now. There are a lot of undead, aren't there?
A foreboding figure draped in heaping animal furs looks to the rest of you, peeking out from above a bushy brown beard, a pair of scowling eyes, topped with a dented iron skull cap. Under the many furs, the jangling of metal can be heard with every step, a subtle warning he's not to be trifled with. At his side, you see a stark white canine standing a head over even an average dwarf. Striking blue eyes stare out, giving an uneasy sense that it's measuring you like a predator evaluating prey. The voice emits from the towering individual, and he says, "These beasts, they are foul. We must end them. Where do they come from? Do you know?"
I am already standing over by the wolf and petting it. I am like a really short, like covered in freckles, very young dwarf with like thick red braids, and just kind of nervous and like, I don't know, but we need to put them back in their graves. This is unnatural. It's not good.
This seems unusual circumstances for types of things. And Lance pulls back his hood. His armor is actually blacked out as well as his standard clothing, so he's all in dark drab colors with a sort of a bit of stubble. Most times, these creatures, they'd have to come from a mass grave or something, some sort of unhallowed location. Seeing this numbers is just, it's not natural.
So let me step in here and ask, just a yay or a nay. Which of you actually aided the town last night? How many stayed in and stayed dry?
Yeah, I would have helped him.
Fritjof is still covered in the muck and mire of toe-to-toe combat with the Decayed.
All right.
I was healing people. I wasn't actually hitting anything.
All right, so
I know my way around the undead.
So the stonemason, nice, burly humanoid. He would have assisted you, a little bit in the fighting, but he probably needed far more of the healing. Is not a skilled combatant. Good with a hammer, but not so much the combat angle of it. He kind of steps into the conversation, and kind of grudgingly you see that he's got claw marks and bruises from last night's fight. You mentioned the undead. And hallowed ground, and we do have a sizable graveyard here. Maybe that would be a good place to start.
Well done, helpful serf. You have not died the night before to such petty enemies. This is good. You may die an honorable death later. We shall go to this undead graveyard.
That's really
morose.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a better word than the one I was looking for.
Morose? Who is this morose?
You.
You're
being morose.
I am Fritjof, this Ingolf.
Morose is a term.
Morbid.
It's kind of, or depressing.
You speak of many terms. We kill. That's what we're here for. No?
Reek kill.
Yeah, let's just go kill. That's Lance takes a flask out and takes a drink. It's gonna be a day.
I'm gonna adjust my shield. I have no weapon.
There is nothing to fear in graveyards. Just, skeletons and zombies and undead things that come out in the night. Let's do this.
Optimism, so I like it.
I have not met the undead that does not seem to die after taking a flail to the head, so I fear not.
Yeah. They tend to come back every once in a while, too, though. There's that.
We should burn them.
I like these.
Hopefully you have ways of doing that. Because I do.
I have torches if we need them, and some oil.
Something so mundane. Very well, we can do that.
I kind of want to see how you do it, though.
Oh, you will. Don't worry.
Okay, let's go.
So if you head left out of town, is where you'll find the path. They weren't so silly as to put it directly next to the town. Graveyards, they want to be revered and what have you, but people are still leery about the dead. And rightfully so, because apparently we have the incidents like you've seen last night. Talking amongst the people of the town, you learned that that apparently Megan's camera can fall sometimes.
That was my dog, sorry.
And then the room exploded.
The town of Vale's Gate is centuries old, and when you have that be a human village, that means lots and lots of graves, gravestones, and well, then bodies. But it also butts up next to a forest. Um, so it's got protection from the elements on one side, but who knows what else might come out of said forest. So as you approach, the rain continues unabated, and it batters the stone structures of the graveyard ahead as you struggle through the thick churned mud that sucks at your boots. Other figures stagger through the difficult terrain, some dragging unfortunate townsfolk in their wake. The dead walk in the vast, elaborate cemetery ahead.
Ah, we have found friends.
What kind of dead are these from a distance?
They are clearly humanoid.
Mostly skeletal, possibly zombie-ish, maybe more.
Uh,
I could roll for it.
they they are corporeal, but it looks like you have some skeletons, some zombies.
All right. Are any of them dragging a townsfolk that I can see at the moment?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to point at the nearest and say, "Hey, you! Stop that right now!"
It does not heed your command.
What if I cast a spell?
Listening, Aiden.
Well, I'm going to get my flail, and I'm going to start advancing on it.
Yeah, at seeing townspeople in jeopardy, Fridtjof will pull a flail and a longsword from underneath his furred cloak and charge forward, Ingolf bounding beside him.
While they're doing that, I'm going to start muttering something under my breath as I reach into a pouch and start taking out pinches of dust and just kind of flinging it in the air while making symbols with my other hand.
Oh, this is going to be good.
This particular spell is going to take like a minute to cast, so...
I will stay here and protect him while he's casting this spell.
I say to Fridtjof as we're charging it, I hope he's got better aim than the last one I worked with.
Bah, they are all the same. Stay away, fling flames. Not like us. We get stuck in. Taste the battle.
It should also be noted that I actually have a travel companion who is a tall, silent figure in full metal armor, and you cannot see any inch of flesh or anything underneath it. That's just how tight the clothing is. He's probably going to go into combat too.
Okay. And if I could get the information for companion as well.
Yeah, I'm getting that one up right now.
And Jake, I will need the wolf stats.
Yep, wolves are all in parentheses. Mine are the first numbers.
Awesome. I apologize, for those of you, watching at home. I usually grab all this information prior to going live, and I totally slacked. So I apologize. The gnome is going to be casting a spell. The druid is standing in front of him defending. What are the rest of you doing?
Fridtjof and Ingolf are charging forward, and I imagine that's beside Lance.
Yeah. Lance is charging in as well.
Do you guys wish to roll initiative then?
Yes, sir.
Yep. Woohoo!
I should probably grab a dice roller. That's important.
Well, there is that cool Nerdarchy dice rolling app.
Don't you have to have an iPhone for that?
Currently, yes. We are still working on the Android version.
Yeah, Android, unfortunately.
So you guys are
my companion's acting on my initiative, right? I don't need to roll for it.
correct.
Good. I'll get all my crap up there in a second too.
Yep. All right. So James, you have a 20 initiative. What are
Yes.
you choosing to do?
I am going to use the dash action to go with my charger feet, and I am going to go in and smash him with my flail, hopefully.
So as you charge in, there are 3 skeletal creatures and
Okay.
6 creatures that still have flesh on them.
Okay. I'm going to go for one of the skeletal ones.
Okay.
But it's better on bone than decayed flesh. And that's not good. That is 12.
12 to hit. That will do it, sir.
Oh, thank God. Of course, minimum damage. That is 11 damage off my charge.
Given that my companion has full plate armor, do you want me to use that for the AC and replace that with the original AC?
Yes, sir.
Okay, give me just a second then. As I said before, vastly underprepared.
I should have used a bigger coffee mug.
All right. So I apologize for the slight issue. All right. So you come in with your weapon attack, and you hit the skeleton. Bones begin to crack, but it remains on its feet. Was it Fritjof? Is that how you're pronouncing that?
Fritjof, yes. Okay. Fritjof and Ingolf are going to run forward. Ingolf, if he can, will get next to, probably in a crowd of them, but going to get next to one, and I am going to get next to the other one, kind of side by side, flanking
Okay.
it. You know,
All right.
not the mechanical term, but I'm going to do an attack action, expending one of them to give Ingolf an attack. That would be a 15 to hit.
It does.
All right, 15 to hit with, sorry, that is a +5, so he will do 12 damage.
And were you going after a skeleton, a zombie?
Probably the biggest group of them is going to be the zombie, so he and I will go for the zombies.
All right, and you said it was another 12?
Yes, sir.
Seems to be the...
And then if it hits, which it does, it needs to make a DC 11 strength saving throw or be laid prone.
What's the DC?
11, please. Strength saving throw.
He stands up. He stays standing.
Cool. All right. If that does not finish the foe off,
It does not.
as we have practiced for many, many years, Fritjof will come in with a heavy-handed longsword strike on the same target. That will be an 11 to hit.
These guys seem to be much easier to hit than the agile skeletons.
Okay, so if that is a hit, that will be 5 damage. And then, with a bonus action, using 2-weapon fighting, we'll come in with a low strike into the ribcage with a swinging flail, same target. And that will be a hit with a 20, and then the damage will be 8.
Alright, so it's 13. Alright. So he actually, stays up with from the first hit, but the second one, it's a wet, squishy impact, and the body crumples to the ground.
Okay, excellent. With a mighty bellow, he'll turn to the next target.
Alright, Megan, you're up.
Okay, so in response to that, and when turns bright red, is anybody badly hurt at this point?
Well, there's the woman that's being drug away from town in one of the zombies' clutches.
Did you mention it was a dark and stormy night? I feel like I heard that.
It is stormy. It is not night at this point in time.
But if I cast Call Lightning, this counts as an already existing storm?
Yes.
It's mine now. So
I wish I wasn't in plate mail.
is there a 5-foot point that is like where I can hit undead that will not hit my companions?
Yes.
Good. I picked that point. Dex
All right.
throws.
All right. You can get one of the skeletons and 2 of the zombies.
Good. So that is 18 damage if they fail their save, and 9 damage if they pass.
What is your DC?
Hold on, let me grab that. It's This is such a weird character sheet. I can't find it. Give me just a second.
What's your casting modifier?
Oh,
It
4.
should be
It'll
wisdom.
be
So,
15.
15.
DC 15. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Is that Dex?
Oh, I found it. There it is. Yes, Dex.
Yeah, D&D Beyond is a weird layout.
Yeah, especially for like the character page. It's
No, I'm using this like specifically druid sheet that we downloaded off of
Oh,
the DM's Guild.
custom sheets. Yeah, yeah.
All right. So you said it's 18 damage.
Yes.
All right. So one of the zombies goes down, and one of the skeletons goes down. But the other one, like you have fried most of the flesh off of him. One of his arms falls off, but it does not go down.
I'm sorry, I meant to kill you.
I don't think you need to apologize for that.
All right. So the one zombie that's dragging the woman away, he continues pulling, while the other 3 zombies and 2 skeletons begin shuffling towards you. James, Jake, you guys went into melee with them, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so they're gonna just huddle on you guys. There are five of them, and essentially with the wolf, there's 3 of you. So the extra 2 targets are they are swarming the ranger.
Fritjof will stand strong.
All right, so you have
AC 17, sir.
Yep, I'm seeing it there. I'm just. All right, so you get three attacks in at you. One of them winds up hitting. Where are you? Here we go. All right. So you take 8 points of damage. And I need a Constitution save.
9er. No, I'm sorry. Only 6.
All right. So you feel like energy sap from you, and the wound on your shoulder from where the zombie clawed at your arm. You just you feel like that there's just less of you there. You're not connected to that spot.
Max HP reduced comparably.
No, you've contracted a disease.
Nice, my favorite.
So the wolf is an AC of 16. He gets missed, and James, you get missed as well.
Okay.
So we go back to the top of the order. So James, you're up, sir.
All right. So
Hold
you
on,
said
I didn't actually have a turn in that.
You said you're casting a spell that takes a minute.
I also have a companion that can act.
Oh, my apologies then. Did you put your initiative in there?
It was a 10.
Ah, okay. Well, then you would have actually gone before Megan. My apologies.
No worries. I just wanted to make sure that I get to do something. During the ritual casting, Aiden will blow his mustaches kind of out of his mouth and say, "Rendon, defend!" And he's going to point at one of the villagers who's being dragged away.
Mm-hmm.
With that, my armored companion is going to charge in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets an opportunity to attack, he'll take it. But you probably know a little more about what this thing can do than I do.
All right, so he rushes up and he makes an attack on the zombie that's holding the woman.
The damage should be a +5 instead of a +2.
Okay. So he strikes it for 9 points of damage. The woman is still being held. The zombie is still standing. But
Cool.
he is attempting to thwart the escape.
All right.
All right. So we are back to James.
Alright, so I am going to use. I'm going to try and hit one first, and then we'll see what I'm going to use.
All right.
So 2 attacks off the start, and it was the zombie that did the weird wound to him, right?
The zombie
Good job.
did the weird wound to the ranger.
Okay, so
but he was also the only one that landed a successful attack on you guys.
I don't like the weird wound, so I'm going to change my focus to the zombies.
Okay.
And
There is the zombie that's missing an arm. There is the zombie with a woman captive, and then there are 2 fresh zombies.
I am going to try the one with the woman captive.
Okay.
And first attack is miss. Second attack is AC 17, 18.
Easily hits.
And I'm going to use a pushing attack on that. So he has to make a DC 14 strength save.
He does.
Crap. But he also takes 16 damage.
16 damage. All right. So
And
you cleave into him, flesh and bones fall away. You strike hard enough that, like, you hit to the spine. There's ribs and flesh lying on the ground. He doesn't seem to care.
If that's the case, I'm going to use my bonus action to action surge. And let's see if I can't clean him up.
Okay.
AC's 17 and 18.
Both hit.
For a combined damage of 20.
I need them separate, please.
Oh, yeah, one was 8 and one was 12.
All right, so you strike into him, and you're carving pieces off, and he just lumbers on.
I dislike these things.
Right, Fritjof.
So I could see that the one that Lance is going for is visibly more stout than the rest of them. He's able to take a lot more punishment.
No, the ones with flesh. There's one that's missing an arm. There's one that's got flesh and pieces hacked off of them. Okay. They are clinging to this life of undeath or this unlife more so than other creatures you've seen fight.
Got it. Okay. Well, with the weakest one, Ingolf is going to kind of maneuver to get into place for that one and strike out. That'll be a 23 to hit.
These guys have not been hard to hit at all.
Yeah, damage
So-
will be 12 damage.
All right, so you're going after the one that he's been fighting?
Probably, yeah, whatever one looks the weakest. Ingolf will naturally go for the weakest prey.
All right, so he comes in and tears, massive chunk of flesh off of the thing's left calf, and it doesn't react in the slightest.
Okay. DC 11 strength saving throw, please.
He is still standing, sir.
Excellente. All right, we will strike at it with a longsword. They're so close at this point, he's basically beating it with the hilt of his longsword.
All right.
That'll be 16 to hit with a 10 damage, please.
All right. So you cleave the arm that's holding the woman off. The flesh-coated bones are still holding on to the woman's forearm. She takes a moment and looks relieved until the thing still is squeezing tight to her arm, and she lets out a shriek and faints. But she's at least not being pulled in the opposite direction. However, the creature remains on his feet.
Fridolf will give a stern look of dissatisfaction seeing this woman faint and mutter weakness as he grabs the chain of his flail, and the close quarters forces him to punch the head of his flail into that same one instead of swinging it. It'll be 22 to hit, but 9 damage. No, sorry, not 9, 7.
All right. The abuse and punishment that you have been doling out to this single zombie, eventually the thing caves and gives in as your fist and flail go into the thing's face, and like a sack of wet potatoes slumps to the ground. The arm that's holding onto the woman finally relinquishes its grip.
With a flick of gore, he'll just say, "Learn your place," and go back into the fight.
Oh, she'll enjoy that when she wakes up.
All right, so now for real, Aiden, it is your turn.
Okay, well, Aiden is going to continue muttering under his breath, attempting to finish his ritual, while what did I name that guy? Rendon keeps on doing what I commanded him to do.
All right, so he's going to. There is an injured skeleton, an injured zombie, a fresh skeleton, and 2 fresh zombies. Do you have a preference on your target, sir?
Anyone that's carrying a human is going to be his first goal.
All right, there was only one human being drug away, and she has been saved.
Okay. In which case, whomever is closest.
All right, so that would be a fresh zombie. Do you wish to attack, or do you want me to handle that?
Whichever works for you. I can do either.
All right, so
If you don't want to sit there rolling dice, I can do it myself.
Right, so, what is he fighting with? Is it claw
He is
or
sword.
sword. All right, so
Yep.
he comes in and he makes a swing into it. It's got a meaty impact into the creature's torso, but it doesn't go down.
Hey Ted,
Yes, sir.
where
Yes,
am
ma'am.
where am I in the initiative lineup?
You had a 7, so the reason why Asa went twice was because I skipped him for a round. You're up now.
Oh, okay.
You're up now, and then I go. So
Okay.
Ted's
Okay,
just bad GMing right now.
Who is? That was
You
me.
forgive him.
Who's diseased?
Fritjof.
Good. Can I get to him?
You can.
So, like-
you don't necessarily know that he is diseased, though.
He would be too much in a battle fervor. You probably wouldn't even have noticed.
Right.
he got
Probably
struck.
wouldn't even be making any sort of outside side signs of it. Does anybody look injured?
Fritz, the only one hit at this point.
Yeah, you might have seen a blow happen onto Fritjof, but again, you probably wouldn't want to get close to him either, as he's just swinging every limb,
Oh, no,
using his
no,
knees
probably.
and elbows to fight as well.
In that case, I'm still like really red in the face, but definitely not gonna get like up on that because battle. Probably, I don't want to get hit. That said, the call lightning is still in effect because I'm concentrating on it and nothing swung at me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and roll that, and it's still Dex. Can I still catch anything in it without catching my companions in it? Is the question.
You can get the one injured skeleton. You can get more if you're willing to injure an ally.
I'm not willing to injure an ally, but I will
Bring
get
it
the
down
injured
on Fritjof.
skeleton. So that's 29 for damage.
All right, so you
because it was a natural storm, so I get an extra D10.
So you blast the skeleton, and literally the ground shakes with the impact. You all hear the cacophony of the thunder as the lightning streaks the ground, and the skeleton is literally blasted into dozens and dozens of pieces. Bone, teeth, all of it rains down upon the ground, and your close by companions.
Can I make a dex check to like catch a tooth for my personal keeping?
Absolutely.
Yes. Dex.
Right,
16.
Absolutely. So you have the tooth of a skeleton blasted into oblivion by call lightning. All right. So now we have 4 things that are alive and four potential targets. So Fritjof gets missed. Was it? Is that Lance? Is that?
Yeah.
So Rendon. He is actually going to get struck. So he takes 3 points of damage. And lastly is the wolf. And that is going to hit as well.
I disagree.
You disagree?
I do.
I'm
just kidding. Go ahead.
How are you disagreeing?
Ingolf is my lord and savior.
All right. Well, he takes a massive 12 points of damage.
Oh no, Ingolf!
Did it miss me when it attacked me, Ted?
Yes, it did.
I am going to use one of my combat maneuvers of riposte and strike him back.
Okay.
So that is AC 17
Hits.
for 18 damage.
All right. That skeleton is very beat up. And we are back to the top of the order, and I'm trying to remember who had the 20. So James, you're up.
That'd be me. So I'm going to try and finish off that skeleton.
Okay.
With a natural 1, so that's a miss, and a 16.
The 16 will hit.
All right, and that is 11 damage.
11 damage does indeed finish him off. And then Fritjof, you're up.
All right. With a cackle of glee, he will say, "The gods applaud my fervor," and then we'll continue to strike out. Ingolf will go for it, hitting with a 15, and then that will be 10 damage, most likely as Moby target.
Do you want to go after one of the injured zombies or the fresh zombie?
Injured it is.
Injured it is. 10 damage.
And then after that, DC 11 strength saving throw blocks.
All right, so he remains standing, and he remains standing.
Okay. Then, yeah, with a longsword into the abdomen, it'll be a 18 to hit with 9 damage.
Whose crinkling aluminum foil into a microphone.
No, that's good. That's good sounds. Sound effects. That's the sound of longsword going into bone.
I'm gonna blame Ted. I think that was him.
It was his beautiful beard.
It was you, wasn't it, Asa?
It's got to be me.
No, my mic is always muted. Sometimes when I talk, it's still muted.
Nice. All right.
So you carve in, and again some pieces of flesh and bone hit the ground, and he was looking at Engel with his last attack, and he just kind of slowly moves his head, towards you, but he remains on his feet.
All right, so for his trouble of turning towards me, he gets a flail across the chin with a 19 to hit and 5 damage.
All right, so you carve a handful of teeth out of his face, but he doesn't seem fazed.
Foul creatures.
I hear their teeth are good luck, though.
Not for them.
All right, so Aiden and Brendan, you're up.
All right. So this is the point in the ritual where Aiden jams his staff into the ground and does a nimble leap so that he is standing on top of his own staff, balancing there while declaring his his verbal aspect of the spell. And Rendon is going to continue his assault on whatever creature is closest.
All right, so do you need a perform check or acrobatics to remain balanced, or is this so practiced he just knows how to do it?
This is just the ritual, man. He just gets up there and knows what he's doing.
All right.
I'll roll for Rendon if you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Oh, and I don't know my proficiency because I've... All right. That is a 12 to hit.
That does.
All right.
These things have been pretty easy to hit.
Yeah. It's a 10 damage as he thrusts at it with his short sword.
James, I think it's you.
Like I said, that could be my computer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I mean, if James, if we think it's you, if you could just keep yourself muted when it's not your turn, see if that solves the issue. All right, so as Rendon slams into the zombie that he attacked last turn, he makes a vicious impact. The thing takes a step back and then continues its fight.
Okay.
And when you're up. And you're muted.
Sorry about that. So does anybody look like grievously wounded, like to merit the move action for the time being, or am I good to just lightning bolt?
Well, how big of an area does this thing hit?
It's 5 feet.
Okay,
Oh no, it is a no. The storm cloud appears in a cylinder that is 10 feet tall, and it is each creature within 5 feet of the point that I picked.
So you're gonna be hard pressed because the 3 zombies are all fairly close to each other, and all of the companions are around them. Between Fritjof, Lance, Rendon, and Engel, these three zombies are surrounded. You're not going to really be able to carve off a section of them without chance hitting somebody else.
Okay, do I have to lightning? Like, can I concentrate on it and not lightning bolts?
Yes, you can choose to not activate its power.
Okay. In that case, I will not do that, and I will turn into a raven.
Okay.
Cool.
You are a raven.
Yes.
Call. All right, so I have 3 zombies. I have 4 targets. Let's see who doesn't get hit. So it is 1. So Fritjof, you are in the clear.
As always, it is to be expected.
So Lance, you get hit. Rendon gets hit. And Engel's a 16. You're all going to get hit. So that means we need some saving throws. That would be con, please.
Okay.
Is this poison damage?
It is not.
Okay.
If I use parry and reduce the damage to nothing, do I still make the con check?
I'm gonna give it to you in chat.
Okay. If you reduce it to nothing, then no, you won't make the DC.
Okay, I'm going to try. I'm going to spend into one of my superiority die and use parry. And I only reduced it by 1, so I expect I'm still making a check.
All right, so you take a total of 8. So after your 1, that's 7. The wolf takes another 8, and happened to roll low, only 3 for Rendon.
And he took 3 damage earlier, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's only taken 6. Good.
And then that should be the top of the order.
I failed my check, by the way.
What did you get?
I got a natural 1, so I got a whopping 4.
Okay. Did the wolf make a saving throw?
Yes, 15.
Okay. And
No, 16. I just looked up the con, but whatever, same number.
all right, so it was an 18 on the saving throw. Cool. All right. All right, so then we are back at the top of the order, so we are at Lance.
All right, there's...
There are 3 creatures. 2 of them are severely battered. 1 that is untouched.
I'm going to go for one of the injured zombies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're all
just 'cause
zombies.
They don't seem to want to go down.
All zombies. All that's left are zombies. The skeletons have been destroyed.
Okay. I don't think that hits AC 10 and AC 14.
They both hit. You guys have You guys have not had any problem hitting these things.
Well, that sucked for damage. Both hits were 6 damage each. Switching dice.
All right, so your first hit carves the most severe one in half. Its legs are torn out from underneath of it. As it hits the ground, it's missing half its rib cage. Its spine is now showing, but it continues to still look mobile as it claws its way forward, looking like it's going to sink its claws or fangs teeth into you. You bring the sword down into its face, and it finally falls.
Maybe Father was right. Maybe I should have been a paladin. Oh well.
Fritjof, you're up.
A sure strike, Lance, but watch this. Ingolf will move in to attack one of the weakest looking ones with a 12 to hit and 8 damage.
All right, so you get a swift strike. You pierce the thing straight through its rib cage. Had this been a mortal creature, its lungs would be completely impaled as you bury the sword to the hilt. As you draw back, carving flesh, chunks of bone, the creature continues forward.
Okay, with Ingolf's attack, again another DC 11 strength saving throw, please.
He can make a strength saving throw in return.
Oh no! All right. I want to say that's a 9. That's probably a failure. It's not going to be better than a 9. How's that?
Okay, so
Yeah.
he comes in trying to pull this creature off its feet, burying its fangs into into the creature's leg, and the creature with a force you hadn't seen before. It pulls back and pulls Ingol off its feet. He falls prone.
Oh, Ingolf. All right. Seeing the bloodied wolf now on the ground, Fritjof will be brought into a much deeper fervor, bringing a long sword across its back.
Okay.
First strike will be a 21 with 9 damage.
Yes.
All right, so you slash into its back and carve more flesh, but it remains standing.
All right, and then it will take a flail to the thigh with a 21 and 11 damage, max, baby.
So you bring the flail into the creature's thigh, and you carve the leg right off the creature, and you slowly see the creature fall to the ground, no longer moving.
Stay down. Ingolf, to your feet! We have foes to slay!
Was that the last thing?
Nope, there is still one more.
If able, Ingolf will use movement to stand back up.
So with the last creature surrounded, it takes a bit of time, but you mow into it, and it fights without any real desire to live, and fights much longer than you would have expected.
Does my ritual finish before it dies?
How many rounds have you been in ritual?
5.
5? All right. So your ritual will finish before they will get through.
All right. So as we are mauling it to death, I come to the last few syllables of my ritual and stumble and fall off of my own staff and curse at my failed efforts just at the end. And as that happens, the zombie gives one final attempt to fight for its life, dragging Rendon down before everyone is able to finish it off.
I got a 12 to catch him as he falls off his staff.
Thank you. You probably do some sort of clumsy, not quite letting me hit the ground situation, but...
Yeah, like you land on me and I fall too, but at least you didn't get hurt worse.
Right.
So I envision that, you catch him as he falls, but you land in the mud, so you're now, on your side, holding him out of the mud, but you're sunk up to your chest. Your arm is completely covered in mud at this point in time.
Oh, that's great.
Is it just me, Fritzoff, or did he just fall?
I don't understand these scribes and scholars. They sit back and they play about in the mud. But whatever. More foes for us. He kind of reaches up to a sore shoulder.
So those of you, who did not pass your save, it's as if the area that got hit, it's not like it's connected to you. Like you can touch it and feel it with your hand, but you're not getting the sensation that there's flesh there.
Don't be a hero. Mention it to me, please.
Must be nerve damage or something that kind of poked me in the joint.
Bah! Foolish enemies make me immune to feel and pain. Their worst enemy comes to life.
I think it would probably be best if you let me fix that paralysis, and I say assuming it's paralysis and casting lesser restoration on them.
Well, it's me better than trying me. Yeah, I can't English now. Better than me trying to do a medicine check with a +1.
All right, so do you both allow her to use her magic on you, or do you just kind of play it off that you're fine?
I won't stop Charity.
Yeah, I won't stop it.
I'll see to Rendon's wounds. It looks to me like his armor has been dented up a little bit. Careful to sort of keep his face away from everyone. I'll lift up the visor and check to see how he's doing under there. And then I'll pull out a washcloth and just start kind of like cleaning his armor in the dented areas.
All right, so you, Megan, Anwin, you examine your companions, and you take a moment to remove the armor and see where it is, and you see like the impacts of these creatures' claws and bites. The flesh is blackened, and where the blood flow would normally be coming to, these black veins are trailing off, and it's not like a great pace, but you can slowly over like 30 seconds, see it creep like a quarter of an inch, further down the arm and further down the chest.
Gosh, that's really bad.
You cast your spell, and almost at the same rate, these black veins travel back towards the initial wound, and the flesh begins to regain its natural color. And
not today, Asmodeus.
But by the time the wound fully is removed of this black ichor, you can feel again, when you touch it, it's it's pink, it's raw, it hurts like you would expect it to, but you can feel it and move even if it's stiff.
I also want to cure wounds the dog.
That wound? Thank you for the assistance, but there was nothing compared to the Dracolisk that I faced years back. Deep in its caverns. The bite of a Dracolisk, that is something to worry of.
Really?
Yes.
Well, tell me the whole story later. We should probably take care of this problem first, to be fair.
You worry too much.
But she unironically really wants to hear the rest of the story, but, like, for reasons probably not right now.
I will tell you later over a meal that the dripping fangs of the terrible Draculis.
Okay.
I'm going to try to bring the town maiden back to consciousness.
After a moment or so, she does come to. She wants no more parts of this. She just
I send her back to town. Go find a nice place to gain your shelter for the evening.
Are you sure? Are you sure we should settle for the evening? I think this is quite a big deal. We should kind of keep going, keep figuring out what this undead threat is.
I agree.
No, I meant her, not us.
Oh. Well, I wasn't listening. Me and my pal were having a conversation.
No, you were playing in the mud again. That's fine.
It's fun. When you're this low to the ground, sometimes you just have to.
So, the thick mud after days and days of rain creates a serious problem for Aiden. He really has to work hard to move within this horrid terrain.
Rendon! I'm going to climb up on his shoulders. Tip my hat. It's long. My character's like Black Mage from Final Fantasy. That's like dead on that he wears,
Nice.
Awesome.
All right, so
Rendon is like human height too, so
Rendon doesn't seem to have as much problem trudging through. Silent and stout. He
a little bit smelly.
He bends down, picks you up, and you begin trudging forward in past the gate. The graveyard is actually quite massive. There's crypts. There's whole areas full of gravestones. You see here and there, there's creatures that have half pulled themselves out of the ground. You see things moving in and out of the forest edge. You see a vast crypt off in the distance, and you see again figures. It's in the storm, in the rain. It's hard to make out a lot of details, but you do see something moving by the crypt as well.
Would Ingolf be able to smell that creature might be of decay or anything to be worried of?
There is so much
around
mixed with the torrential downpours. You're not really getting anything specific. Anwin's got the the best chances, and even your trained eye is still a bit hard pressed to notice any serious details.
Without turning to him, he'll mention to Aiden, saying, "Your tin friend, he speaks not. What of him?"
He's had a hard life, and let's just say he's not one for words.
He has a strong sword arm. That's all I care for.
Is he one for a pulse? He seems rather stiff.
Like I said, a hard life. The joints they need constant maintenance, and some people just can't keep up with it.
I see.
When you swing a sword, when you fight in such ways and wear armor like his, it's tough to keep moving. And let's just say that Rendon he's no spring chicken. He is aged quite fully.
Is he dead?
That is such a difficult question to answer.
As long as he's on our side.
Oi, I see errant motion. You see Ingolf has hair on the back of his neck, standing up, pointing over to the moving figure in the shadows.
With that, I will do a quick verbal and semantic thing while I fiddle with a piece of cured leather, and magical energies will swirl around my form. I now have magical armor.
Okay.
I'll give you my new AC.
Shambler in shadow. Abase yourself. Let us know who walks.
So it's just +3, right?
You're muted, brother.
Yes, it should be 15. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, mage armor's pretty much staple. So, all right. So as I described, there's multiple locations that you guys can investigate and explore. What is it that you want to look at? Do you want to look at do you want to look at the forest edge? Do you want to look at the gravestones? Do you want to look at the small crypt? Do you want to look at the big crypt?
You said there was movement in the crypt?
There's movement in each of those locations.
Okay.
That you can loosely see. Again,
I would suggest the small crypt first. It would be lesser amount of work, and then we could move into the larger crypt.
I'm inclined to
And
agree.
If we cleaned out the smaller one, if we had to, at least rest and fortify it.
Fine. We will take the small one. I do not agree with taking such a small, piddly fight, but we will bring the true fight to them.
Think of it as clearing a strategic location, so we have a bigger fight ahead.
I will leave the thinking to you then.
So you go to the first small crypt, and you wind up seeing a handful of small skeletons. You get into a pretty easy fight. It's not like any of the. It wasn't like the first fight with the zombies that just continued fighting. You make short work of them. Looking around, you don't find anything that gives any semblance of a clue as to what might be causing these things to rise. You go to the second crypt, the second small crypt. This one, you actually don't find anything moving. You don't find anything that is of any kind of value whatsoever. Nothing to force you out.
Fritjof will stand after kneeling in the mud, picking up a bit of detritus from the ground, sifting it through his fingers and sniffing it. Standing, he'll look to the others. Nothing. The dead know their place here. They stay dead. We take the large crypt now?
I would take the large crypt now.
Let's take the large crypt.
And before going into the crypt,
Onward!
to light my lantern and hook it onto my belt so I can see as I'm going.
So this elaborate mausoleum was built for the Sturgis family. The elaborate adorned double doors are gated and locked, and unlike other tombs, this one seems to be peaceful and intact. No dead roam within its enclosure.
Really? Why do I not believe you?
Fridtjof will run his gloved and armored hands across some of the cold stone, see if he can get a feel of any vibrations or errant motion in the stone or airflow.
If I understand rituals properly, I don't need to have a ritual prepared in order to cast it.
Are you a wizard?
As a wizard, you are correct. You can
Okay.
you can pull out your book, and as long as it is in your book, you can cast it. It takes 10 minutes beyond the casting time of the spell, and it does not use a spell slot.
Okay, well, while he is doing that, I will be walking through the mausoleum as well, detecting magic.
All right. Well, you are at the door, and it is locked.
Oh, okay. We misunderstood you. I apologize.
Then I will sit in front of the door with my book in front of me, doing the Gandalf thing. And, well, I'm going to sit on my staff and just staring at it and doing what I can to detect magic through the door itself.
Well,
Is there-
if
Knock
it's
the staff
locked,
out from under him.
I'm going to check for traps first,
Okay.
and I don't see any because I rolled a 1. So
Is there a visible locking mechanism, and what type of door is this?
It's a sturdy oak door,
Okay.
and there is absolutely a visible lock.
Is it a padlock or a block built into the handle?
Lock built into the double door that's there.
Oh, it's a
we
double
should be able
door.
to get that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an elaborate mausoleum.
If Lance has stepped back enough, kind of looking around in frustration at this, jiggling the handle a few times, Fridtjof will just take a boot in between both of the doors as hard as he can.
All right. Well, he's
If
still.
you'd like me to try something first before we give away our position.
I'll only do that if Lance walks away.
Yeah, he's still there.
So that is a 20 to pick locks.
All right. So you go up there and you're like, all right, I am confident that there is nothing ill-fated about this particular lock. So let me go ahead and click, 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 and after a moment or so, you manage to align the tumblers, and this is probably one of the hardest locks that you've ever wound up picking, but you get the small gear that's inside to begin moving, and you sit there and you turn and you turn, and the iron cylinder that went across slowly moves, and you hear the as it as the lock fully comes undone, and you see the doors move just a little bit at the release of this metal cylinder.
So, can I knock the staff out from under the gnome?
Can you? Absolutely.
I do that.
Since it appears that my ritual won't be completed, yeah. I'm not going to make any attempts to stop. I go dive, falling down into the mud face first. My hat falls off my balding head.
Oh,
Aiden lifts his head up and wipes mud off of his long mustaches and thin beard and goes, "That was uncalled for."
I really thought you'd be ready for it.
Again,
I had my book in my hands. How am I supposed to be ready for this?
I've helped a little fellow up.
So, do you want to make a dex save to see if you can keep your book out of the mud?
No, my book goes splashing into the mud.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I'm not usually this mean. I really thought you'd like.
It's all fun and games till someone kicks a gnome.
With all fairness, she didn't kick the gnome; she kicked the staff.
That's true. At the clicking noise as the door opens and is now ajar, Fridtjof with a stride forward will grin over to Lance and say, "You make beautiful music, friend."
Thank you. And I raise my flask to him as I take a drink.
So as you look inside, it's as quiet as a tomb.
I wonder why that is.
Yeah. Unless somebody stops them, Ingolf and Fritjof are going to stride at a normal pace forward. Ingolf will be on high alert. Fritjof will have both weapons sheathed and just kind of wiping the water, or sorry, like the dampness off of his furs.
After Aiden shakes the mud off of his book, he says, "Friends, there are no magical traps around here."
It's not the magical ones I worry about. And Lance will follow Fritjof with his sword unsheathed but resting back across his shoulder.
So this tomb belonged to, as I said, the Sturgis family, and there's a number of sealed tombs within the wall here. The thing that piques your curiosity the most of the floor is clean and undisturbed, but along the left side of the wall, and when you see just the faintest trace of footprints that have little bit of ash, little bit of dirt leading from the one wall off towards the back wall.
Hey guys! And I'm gonna point that out to them.
Yes, what is it?
There's footprints, look.
Lance gets down and investigates the footprints. That is...
Aiden is stepping his foot next to them, kind of comparing sizes, getting Randon over to do the same.
So they look like an average human's footprints, much bigger than the gnomish footprint. But there's no footprints leading up to the wall, just leading away.
So almost like coming out of the wall, then.
You could think that, yeah. That would make sense.
Then with that, Aiden is going to go and just sit against the far wall and hold out his palm, and a spider is going to climb out from his sleeve onto his hand, and he's going to sit and whisper to it for a minute and then let it down, and it's going to scurry off down the corridor.
All right. Do you begin looking through its eyes, or do you just let it walk off?
I actually already told you what I'd like to do with it.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I did not see that up there.
That's okay.
Well, while he's doing that, I'd like to investigate the wall, if that's okay, Ted?
All right, so the wall where it looks like footprints are coming from or going to?
Coming from, to begin with.
All right. What do you got?
And that is a 19 investigate.
All right, so there is a number of, what do you call it? Clearly encased tombs here. Sturgis family was a very popular one for a while. The town would have been able to tell you easily that the Sturgis family, recently within the last few months had a death in the family, and trying to find his first name. Does it say here? All right, so Master Sturgis. I'm not seeing a first name. I apologize. Recently died. And there was a big, big funeral. Everyone, pretty much was sad. He was a noble that was, loved in the city for a while. And so the most recent grave that would have been here would have been his, and it's kind of like 4 or 5 feet off the ground. and it looks undisturbed.
Okay.
But like these things could be opened if you really if you were that sick and wanted to check. And everybody is muted.
No, I'm sorry. I'm getting like some commercial coming from somewhere, and I thought I closed off the page on the computer, but I don't know. It's like somewhere there's something playing in the background in my room, and it's kind of freaking me out.
It's the voice in your mind.
It must. I'm going crazy, guys. I'm sorry. Okay.
It's more fun when you're crazy. So it's like a large, almost like a sarcophagus or a tomb.
It's like if you have the tombs that are built into the walls, and you just have like that door plate that's there. But like you can open those up to either put in or remove coffins.
Mausoleum drawers? I don't know what the proper term is for.
Okay, and it doesn't seem to have been moved or anything. Nothing obvious from what I saw of the investigation.
I mean, with that investigation, that's like, that's what you see. Like these are the tombs. If something were to have just materialized there, it's going to have come out of one of these things on the wall, or magically teleport here. Is the only thing that you can possibly think of, and you do know from talking to the townsfolk that Master Sturgis was the most recent death in this particular family, so that would probably be your closest place to start.
With an obsessive glance at the particular carving structure of this mausoleum, Aiden is going to kind of start to obsess over the historical relevance of a place like this, and kind of mutter it to himself, occasionally turning to other people as though they're listening. I did roll a 13 history check, but I don't actually expect to get anything important to the game, so I just wanted to go with that.
All right, so you begin spouting off some family history about the family and what it's done for this particular town, and you know that there's a big manor, as part of this town, and
Oh, how well loved the Sturgises were! What a tragic loss.
Yes, tragic. Hopefully they won't mind me opening this tube. And Lance gets out his crowbar and puts his sword away and tries to jimmy it open.
So it opens with ease. It hasn't had time to sit and build anything up, because it has been only a few months since since he was entombed. You pull down the drawer, or pull down the casing, and there is the fairly elegant coffin. Should you or do you decide to open it?
I'm going to try and look behind it first before opening it. Just to see if there's like possibly a false backing or something. Just sort of use the hand axe to move away some of the cobwebs and stuff around the sides, and investigate the back part a little further before going in and looking at him directly, trying to not disturb his rest as much as possible, which is probably all going to get thrown out the window in like 5 seconds. 15 investigate for around behind the back of the casket.
You do not find anything of interest or value at all back there.
Well, time to check the casket. Before opening the casket, I says, "Sorry, old chap, just taking a look-see." Turn to Fritz off. This is where I might get mauled by something. This is going to be the lousy part.
Don't worry, I will avenge your death.
Well, I would prefer you save me, but avenging is good.
You will be interned to your family, no worries.
So you you know
Morbid.
you crack the coffin, just a little bit, and some of you who have a little bit of experience, with this, or a little bit of preparedness, you take that sharp inhale before the coffin cracks, expecting to get this, massive wave of stench and decay. And as the lid opens,
It's a staircase.
it doesn't come. Inside,
Is a staircase?
no.
Two staircases.
Inside, you do not see a body.
Come on,
There is dried blood, there is ashes, there is splintered bone, and there's an assortment of bizarre ingredients. Does any of you want to make an Arcana check?
That is what I'm doing right now. Having been pretty much tilting over whatever it was he was doing, Aiden is super focused on what's happening. As soon as that thing cracks, a look of disappointment overcomes his face when he doesn't see a body in there.
Okay.
But recognizing immediately that these are some kind of components for a ritual, he rushes over and begins to sift through them.
Since my Arcana is not great, I'm going to assist Aiden.
All right.
Okay.
Make an Arcana check, DC 10.
I rolled a 10. So
No.
it's 17.
He's trying to give you
No.
advantage.
If he can get a 10, he'll give you advantage.
Oh, I see.
I have a 12.
All right. So then you can have
Plus
advantage.
one.
Okay, I rolled a 17.
Nailed
Okay.
it.
Oh, I got a 17 total.
Okay. All right. So that was your better of the two rolls.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was the 10.
All right. So there's a number of strange ritual ingredients. There's some plant, some leaves that are kind of a darker nature, that are grown in the heart of the swamp, that are a little bit unsavory. Some say that they've got a poisonous effect if ground and turned in, and ground and juiced up and put in someone's beverage. They'd have no taste whatsoever, but there's a toxic element to it. There's a couple claws and teeth that have a bit of necromantic history. You just are getting this odd thing, and then there's a variety of different powders and whatnot that are sprinkling around the nice rich velvet purple padding that is in here. But the claws, the leaf, the teeth, all of this just screams dark, evil, necromancy, that kind of stuff.
All right. I will turn to everyone else and say, well, it seems like we are dealing with something very, very twisted here. Needless to say, we should proceed with caution.
So the by the time all of this transpires, your spider winds up crawling back from the direction that the footprints were going in, and it kind of crawls up your leg, up your chest to your shoulder, pretty much attaches itself to your neck, and begins its very quiet chittering into your ear.
Hey, that tickles.
That's a bit creepy. And while he's having the chat with the spider, I'm putting the casket and stuff back.
I love spiders so much.
In my head, she's a jumping spider.
Oh.
Because I love their faces and their furry bodies.
Oh my gosh,
All
they're
right.
so cute.
All right, so then
We're having a really weird nerd moment. Let's just move on.
in that case, instead of it crawling, it totally comes up to you and bounds right to your shoulder, and then attaches to your neck and begins chittering in your ear.
All right.
All right, so what are you guys doing?
Is there any path of egress inside this chamber, or do you think there's anything else of note that might have put you off sides?
Well, you only saw the one door,
Mhm.
but there are footprints leading in the opposite direction of the door.
Okay.
Dwarves don't have stone cunning in 5e, do they?
They do.
They do.
They
Doors
do?
do. Yep. It's
probably
advantage on history checks, I think.
Oh,
Yep.
history?
Yeah.
I don't have history. Never mind.
History for stone cutting and masonry, I believe.
Yeah.
What are you looking to do with it? What are you trying to find?
Oh, I just want to see if there's a door where the footprints are leading.
So that's I interpret the dwarf stone cutting to be a little bit more than just what's there. Dealing with stonework and that kind of stuff. I grant them advantage. It just makes the most sense on anything involving that. Not just a simple history check.
Sweet. All right, cool. So then perception or
yeah. I mean, if you head towards the footprints, they go off. A short distance, and against the back part of the wall, you see like a stone that just it doesn't seem to fit the rest of them. Maybe the humans wouldn't notice it. Maybe it's like, okay, well, this marble's just a little bit off. It doesn't fit the rest of it, but just barely touching it, the thing just swings.
sweet. It's a good thing you didn't ask me to roll because I got a 1 and then I got a 4.
Nailed it.
That's one of the things that is kind of the way I try to interpret dice. If you're going to have a die roll, it's got to mean something. If it's something that you want the adventure to continue, and you force a roll on it, it's like, oh, well, you missed this, so never mind. You missed the adventure. And,
Pack up. Let's go home.
all right. I didn't solve
I'm
it,
gonna
but
make a note of that for future DMing because I always make that mistake.
I've done it once in a, I can't say recent, but within the past year or two, and like it happened with Nerdarchy Ryan, and I'm like, make a perception check, and I'm like, I didn't want that to happen. Or was perception or investigate, and he rolled like pretty low for him, and I'm like, this was like the next step of the adventure. Like as soon as I said roll, I'm like, oh crap. So like I had to just doesn't matter what he rolled because this is where the adventure goes. So he's gonna find it.
It's at DC 1 though. But yeah,
that the idea of dice rolls matter. If you're gonna have to make dice rolls, success or failure, can't be crucial. So you want to have, if you've got something that's a crux moment, give it to them. Find a way to not have dice rolls matter for that particular thing, or don't plan on dice rolls needed for that moment.
here goes Ted in Nerdarchy mode.
I mean, gameplays don't have to just be
That's true.
gameplays. You can have them be teaching moments as well. So,
Absolutely.
all right. So, you have found the secret passageway. What are you doing with it?
Fridtjof will walk up next to you, Anwin, and with a nod say, "Well met. Secret passage means bigger monsters, more kills."
Okay.
And Fridtjof and Ingvolf will continue on.
Well, I guess Rendon will follow, and
As will Lance.
yeah.
So, this is the first dry air that you've had in quite some time. As you step into the passageway, you take a quick look behind you, and you see the sodden, muddy trail that you guys have left behind you, totally covering up the footprints that you followed into here. And you're like, maybe at some point in time this should get cleaned up, but we've got a quest ahead. And you step forward into the tunnel. It goes for go ahead.
How muddy is Aiden's robes?
Well, you fell into the mud, and like the mud was coming up to your knees to begin with. Apparently, we have a dog attack going on. So like you are, pretty much thickly coated at this point in time.
So I'm the one leaving the trail, pretty much.
Well, I mean, Anwin had half of her body coated in mud, catching you, and
okay.
all of you have been walking through the mud for quite some time. So there's plenty of mud, and it was a downpour out there, so you're soaked to the bone. So there's plenty of mud and water coating this thing.
The skeleton forced Ingvul to roll around in the mud. That was nice of it.
Oh, that's true as well.
Yeah, I think Lance is probably the cleanest one out of the group right now.
But unless you did something to prevent it, all of you are completely and utterly soaked. So after maybe about 30 minutes, you you come to the end of the passageway, and you kind of have an idea that it's happening because the moisture level begins to pick up. The ground begins to get a little bit wet, as you can see light pouring in from the other side, and you begin hearing the storm once again. As you look out, you can see the rain, and you come out of a hillock that's set in that the doorway is hidden behind, and as you come out off to the one side, you can see tall walls that you can only gather as part of the town that is set in the hilltop.
Okay. Is there any footprints leading up the wall, or is it just
from here as you step out? I mean, it's still a downpour, so anything that would have come out this way has clearly been washed away. Even if it was in the last 10 minutes, there's enough of a downpour that there's no possible way to see what happened.
All right.
Is there any noticeable, maybe spots of civilization or something that might stand out a little bit where somebody would have walked to this, or
well, as you fully step out,
Mm-hmm.
you are clearly at Margrave Manor. It sits atop Manor Hill, overlooking the town of Varsgate. No light can be seen within the manor windows, and nothing living moves about.
Ah, I have read all about the manor. I know exactly where we should go. And with that, Aiden is going to start marching his way towards the manor with Rendon behind him.
I also follow the gnome.
I fear that this house will not bring me the monsters that I am to slay, but...
Alright, so you come out of the passageway, and you see there's the manor walls encasing the compound behind you, as well as, way off to the left and right. The manor itself lies in front of you. You know that there is a gate both at the back of the house as well as at the front. The front would be to your left. The back would be to your right. You of course, being proper and civilized, you don't approach the back of someone's house if you're coming to call. So you would think to go to the front, but you have studied a bit, so you know that there is a door in both sides.
Well, I would suggest we go through the back, because...
Well, Aiden knows that there's a front and a back.
Aiden is going to promptly go up to the front door and knock.
Lance will suggest maybe we should look for the back.
So the manor grounds, as you walk through them, were once well tended, but time has allowed weeds to encroach upon the lawns and the shrubbery to grow wild and untrimmed. The rains have made a mess of the walkways. The front door, as you knock on it, you see it move in tandem, and it's clearly locked. the floor at the door is actually covered in muddy footprints. The sign that someone has been about.
Is there an overhang where maybe some of the footprints would have been better kept in the rainstorm?
There is.
Okay. Once we get closer to that, I'll probably kneel down an area that is away from the rain and try to look over the mud of the print and see if I can tell if it's made of like a boot specifically and or how long it's been since something passed through.
The footprints that are out here look booted, but you're not able to tell much beyond that.
Okay. But no time frame, maybe where the mud is more dry or anything like that.
No, the area here is pretty moist. From all the rain.
Okay.
So I mean that could tell you something. It's not like it's dried dirt that has been here for a long time. So if it's wet from the moisture, it's gotta have been during the rainstorm.
Okay. All right. Fresh prints.
Are there any low
Up Bel
windows?
Air.
Got it before I
Nailed
could.
it.
Oh dear. While he's checking that, if Aiden's not doing anything else at the door, Lance is going to try and check for traps on the door and try and unlock it.
Are there any low windows? Like it's a manor, so I'm thinking like big, long, like windows.
There are. There are no lights from within, but each window is covered in heavy drapery.
Okay. Then Aiden is just going to look at Rendon and say, "Smash."
So, Lance, are you allowing Rendon to smash, or are you trying to get in the way and use your tools?
Well, you were smashing a window at the door, or you were smashing a window...
Probably
off
like
the-
off the side of the house, like a few windows down from the main door. You're just going to smash into one of them.
Unfortunately, Lance probably wouldn't have noticed that while working with the door.
All right, so you spend a little bit of time trying to find out if there's anything going on. When you hear the as Rendon in his mailed gauntlet goes through the window with his right fist.
Fridtjof will saunter over there with a smile on his face, looking at the small individual, and says, "Well met. Want a boost?" Put a hand down to help him into the window.
Lance is just kneeling at the
please.
door. 2 minutes. All I needed.
And
2 minutes.
while I am being boosted, I quickly become invisible.
All right. As he clambers in there, most likely to the sound of some rummaging things inside. Once I know that he's clear based on sound, I'll heave my massive body in there,
So
and then peek my head out and say, "Ingolf, we find door for you."
So as you enter into the room, you are in a grand entryway. Stairs lead both up to a floor above and down to a subterranean level below. Statues of Sturgis and his wife flank the double doors to the north. Standing in between this double staircase, in fine livery matching the Sturgis crest, in a very tattered and well-worn set of clothes, and a fine cloth also bearing the Sturgis crest, looks to be a corpse of a human man standing there, completely unblinking, unmoving, his jaw hanging slightly off, flesh withered. You would say this has got to be the family butler, but clearly deceased, clearly unmoving, standing fully erect as if waiting his next orders.
I'm going to turn to Fritjof
Mhm.
and say, "Shh,"
And then again, I'm going to pull out. I'm invisible, so you can't see me actually doing that. And then I'm going to walk up to the butler and start muttering under my breath, pulling out white dust and sprinkling it on him.
Okay.
I don't know if you need me to become uninvisible while this is happening, but
If all you're doing is putting dust on him, I don't think that makes you uninvisible.
I am casting a spell.
Okay, well, once he becomes the target of the spell and you cast it, then your invisibility would go away.
Okay. So to clarify, would he be under my control before the invisibility goes away?
Simultaneously.
Does he get a saving throw, or does that just does he?
Oh, you know what? He if he's already dead, or if he's not, yeah, it's got to be like a corpse. So if he's already awakened, it may not work.
Yeah, he's already an undead.
Okay. So yeah, it looks like it rises as an undead. Could we give him a saving throw and then see if I can take control of him? Can we do that? That sounds like fun.
What is your DC?
That is a question.
What's your casting modifier?
It's the first time I've had to look that up. My casting modifier is +4, so my DC is 17.
15.
15.
Yeah.
All right, so
Gave myself a 10 instead of an 8.
Used to it from the old editions.
All right, so he winds up. The first movement is the one eye that actually still has an eyelid blinks, and his face turns, and as you become visible, he looks down at you. But the rest of his body is unmoving.
Have I cast my spell?
Yeah.
Okay, then I look up at him and I say, "Why didn't you answer the door when I knocked?"
He continues to look at you.
Speak, if you can.
I so want to make the dog go woof, but he looks down and you see the jaw kind of move in tandem with the head bob, and again no sound comes out.
Ah, I see. I'm going to perform a medicine check to try to reset his jaw.
Okay.
I looked at Anwin. What the hell is he talking to?
Let's see.
Is there a obvious door that would be to the outside that I could see?
From here, yeah. I mean, there was the doorway that.
Okay, I'm just making sure it's in the same room.
Yeah. I mean, this is a grand entry hall.
Yeah.
I mean, this place is massive. I mean, just the double doors, are 10 foot wide by themselves. The area that you're standing in, winds up being like a diamond pattern that goes to like 35, 40 feet at its widest. You're looking. Ahead of you is this grand double staircase that goes off, and there's like a 10-foot square just in and of itself between these two staircases.
Okay. While Aiden seems like he's taken care of pretty well, and he seems intrigued, so Fritjof will go over to the door, and if need be, will jangle about with the lock to see if he can get it undone and opened.
It's easy from this side. It's just a turn.
Okay, so yeah, he'll open it up and peek his head out, and he says, "You come in now."
Of course.
So Lance, Engel, you're in. Anwin, did you go in through the window, or did you just remain outside?
Yeah. Oh yeah. If Frishelf is going there, I'm going to I'll follow.
And I got a 20 on my medicine check. There. Total 20, not a natural 20.
Dirty 20.
So SR2 Joker wants me to do the Carlton dance. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, that's what you're hearing.
I love you, Andrew. You are awesome. All right, so what is the result of your medicine check, sir?
It's a 20.
Oh, okay. Well, then you can get that set back in place, and kind of doing the whole oil can routine. You get that set, and The creature, then looks at you and says, "Ask." It's a little creepy to the rest of you as this dry voice, comes out of this dead creature.
Where is your master?
He looks troubled for a moment, as if there's conflicting emotions, and his unmoving arm at this point in time, some of the cloth tears, flesh rips as the arm that apparently hasn't moved in a while raises, and he points it straight at you.
Thank you. Let me rephrase. Where is the master of this home?
So he turns, looks at the staircase to the left. He looks at the staircase to the right, and then points upward.
What happened? Oh, hold on. It's Sturgis, right? What happened with the Sturgis mausoleum? Where is the corpse that resided there? I would like you to go find tasks in this house to perform that will keep you out of our way. Can you do that?
He nods. Again, there's bones creak from lack of use.
And I'm gonna gesture for him to kneel, or not to kneel, but to come to my level.
So he bows, and it's more than what you would expect of a person to be able to do. So literally at his waist, he bends to a complete 45. And then turns his head to look you directly in the eye. He should not, physics said he should fall over, but he does not. His arm is still cruxed at his chest with the towel with the family crest on it that now hangs to the ground. The towel is the only thing clean about him.
I'm going to whisper something on his ear that the rest of the party can't quite hear.
Okay.
Unless they try to.
Is anyone attempting to eavesdrop?
Absolutely not.
Lance is far too curious given his previous background. Perception of something or other.
Ingolf
21.
feels nice. Ingolf hears everything, but it's useless because Ingolf doesn't speak.
What should I be rolling counter to that?
That's the thing. I don't know. There's some things. There's some things that just don't have an opposing roll. So I'm gonna say make a.
Would deception be viable?
Deception would be viable, but I don't think charisma is going to apply here.
That's a fair point.
So, I mean,
unless I'm rolling with an Arcana or a History, he will beat me because my roll is a 15.
All right. Well, I'm going to give you advantage because you're whispering right into this thing's ear.
Okay.
And can you think of a stat that would better apply to this than charisma?
Maybe I would almost argue
intelligence. Maybe.
Yeah.
All right. So give me deception and intelligence on this.
All right. My second roll is a natural 20, so that is a 27 in total.
All right. So give me 3 words, in sequence that Lance winds up hearing, but that's
Okay.
about it.
He would hear. Let's see.
So I mean, you can type out to me what you're going to tell him, and then just pick 3 words that he hears. Give them to him in sequence, but. So what are the rest of you doing? Fritjof and Anwen.
Okay, I think he would hear ready, cover, escape.
Okay.
I'm like just kind of watching what the others are doing and like keeping an eye out for trouble. Like if something's gonna sneak up on us, I want to be ready for it.
At this point, Fritjof would probably be halfway up one of the staircase. The staircase is kind of getting a sight of everything in the chamber, counting doors, and every once in a while crouching, looking to see if any dust has been upturned for recent pathways.
Strangely enough, here the floors are pretty clean. Down below, there was some footprints of people moving about, but up here is pretty well taken care of.
Once everything is done with the butler, I'll return to the group if you guys haven't already moved on and say, well, looks like everything we need to find is upstairs.
Well, I'm ready to go that way.
Let's proceed with caution, though, because we don't know what we're leaving behind downstairs.
I would be happy to leave Rendon down here. He can keep us safe.
That might not be a bad plan. I'm not sure I completely trust your new butler.
Well, one never can trust something that is completely dead.
Well, that's what bothers me. He's undead, not dead.
Exactly. That's what I said.
You're
I
not.
could behead him if he gives you the willies.
Maybe on the way out, return him to his slumber.
No sense in wasting a sword strike.
I'm gonna take my spider, whose name is now Lucas, because it brought up in chat and I loved it.
Oh my god, my family is obsessed with Lucas the spider.
And I'm gonna put Lucas on Rendon's shoulder, and Lucas is going to find a crevice in his armor and snuggle in.
All right, Lucas does not find any polar bears.
Good.
Just saying. So, do you guys go up to the right staircase or the left staircase?
Always left, unless you guys disagree.
Fritjof would have already been halfway, and at this point, all the way up the left staircase, so it works.
Yes.
Megan, you've played with me enough to know always left.
Always left.
Lance just follows along.
So you come up the stairs, and the sight that greets you through an open doorway. A macabre feast is underway in this dining room. Undead dressed in their funeral garb sit about the table, dining on the gore of one of their own who works his jaw and claws at the others as they devour his entrails. It is a stomach-churning mockery of a noble feast. What do you do?
Okay. Yeah, Fritjof. Fritjof will be, almost nauseated by the sight of it and appalled, and he will stride into the room with heavy booted steps. Does anything turn towards him?
For the moment, they seem, engrossed as noble men and women in their finest clothes are chowing down upon a fellow noble in, again, nice looking clothes as they tear into its flesh, and it in turn is attempting to chew on those that are eating it.
And just to verify, they are all obviously decayed in some manner.
They are obviously decayed and dead, and yeah.
Okay. With a heavy scowl, he will brandish his longsword and flail and begin just the somber steps towards them.
What are the rest of you guys doing?
Lance will draw his sword, realizing Fritzoff is about to beat him to the party, so to speak, and he will come rushing in behind him.
Anwin?
So I'm gonna hang back and be ready to start healing people when things get bad.
Okay.
Actually, I'm gonna turn into a raven first because I'm pretty sure I can heal and be a raven because ravens can talk.
As a raven, you will not be able to heal.
Okay, never mind then. I'm just gonna hang back and wait to heal.
Okay. Aiden?
Aiden is going to find a corner close to the door and stand there and watch.
All right. It becomes a fight as you lay into them.
Fridtjof would draw their attention by, as he walks up, he would take a massive boot, kicking the table and sliding it as far as he can with a single kick away from them.
All right. So I'm going to do an expedited combat here. I don't want to go into massive hours tonight. So I'm just going to make a series of attacks and see what winds up happening to.
Lance does have heavy armor mastery, so he does reduce all non-magical damage by 3.
Okay. So, Anwin, Aiden, do you ever get into melee with these things?
No, I'm going to pepper him with cantrips, and I'm going to go ahead and assume that at some point I use a first level spell.
Okay. Anwin?
Okay. I was reading something in the chat and I missed that. I'm so sorry.
All right, I'm going to do an expedited combat. So whoever goes into melee with these things, I'm gonna make X number of attacks and see what happens, just so that there is some feel of danger with this.
Okay, I don't go into melee, but I heal where applicable.
Okay, all right. So armor class 17. So. Fritjof, you're going to take a couple of attacks. Lance, you get hit once. I'm assuming Engulf is in the melee as well?
In it to win it.
Alright, so... Fritjof... You take a total of 17. Engel takes 13. And you said you have heavy armor master?
Yeah.
So you take after DR 4.
Okay.
These things don't have as much ferocity as the undead that you fought outside. But they do go down. Their clothing is a little nice, and not all of it is destroyed, but it is being worn by the dead. There is, however, again, you can take a set of nobles' clothes for anyone that is interested if you want to take it off the dead. But beyond that, there is a very nice cloak that seems to have shed the majority of the macabre lying on the table of what would have been the dinner victim.
All right. I look at Aiden, noticing he's got some sort of magical talents. Is there any way you could maybe see if this might be unique in some form, since it's not covered with the plague of death like everything else?
Oh, definitely. I'm going to look it over and say, well, the stitching is quite intricate, and it seems very well crafted. This looks quite unique to me. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite its like.
So it
I
is
meant magical, little one.
Oh, oh, well, you should have said so.
it is a dark black cloak, and taking a moment to examine it, it almost seems like it's blacker than a normal black fabric, almost as if like it's pulling light into it.
Hmm.
Oh, I like that. That's darker than my current cloak.
It seems to be black as black, something like that. Absorbing light and all of that. Who has a torch? Lantern?
I have a lantern going.
I'm gonna hold it really close to the lantern and see what happens.
It doesn't seem to like really affect the light. It's not pulling it in, but clearly the blood and the undead flesh didn't really stick to it. It's there's something special about it.
Okay. Well, I've learned my lesson about magical objects. I'm not going to throw this one on willy-nilly. If you guys want it, be my guest.
I'll do it if you guys don't want to.
I'm going to hold the cloak out to Anwin.
Okay, I'll put it on.
All right. You put it on, and as you do so, it dwarves are typically wider than humans. Are you average width for a dwarf? Where do you stand? So
yeah,
as you tie it on, it fits like it was made for you. It winds up shrinking just a little bit, growing a little bit wider. Not like visibly, like you don't see it move. You put it on, and just that swirling motion, it's like, oh well, this cloak was clearly made for me.
So clearly it's magic.
Self-tailoring, I like it.
Can I take it back off again?
Yeah.
Okay, it's not cursed.
I fail to see how that proves it's not cursed. Just that it didn't hurt you.
Well, cursed normally needs time to grow on a person, doesn't it?
I'm gonna run around in the cloak and see if it does anything. Can I like try to flap it? Like
it feels nice. It's got a good weight to it. I don't know how many cloaks you've worn, but there's some cloaks that have that it's just there to cover you up. There's other cloaks that are designed to have weight and keep you warm. This one presents itself as a well-made, thick, it'll keep you warm, and it's a really nice fabric. So like,
okay, so I have an intelligence of 10, so I'm just gonna be like, you know what? I think it's just enchanted so it fits you.
Well, we'll
nice
see
cloak.
what happens, but that could be it. Nance doesn't really seem convinced of that at all. He's seen too much stuff go wrong.
If nobody else wants it, I'm just gonna keep wearing it.
Looking at Anwin not being injured at all, Aiden is kind of like rubbing his beard thoughtfully. Can I try it on?
She hands it out. So, like, she'll hand it to you.
All right, I'm gonna try it on.
Just as it had done, whether you choose to do so or not, like you put it on with a little bit of a flourish. It doesn't seem to just allow you to put it on, nicely. You whip it out and wave it around you, and as you do so, it goes from this is dwarf sized to this is gnome sized, and again it seems like it should just fit you, like it was made just for you.
Is it still billowing?
No.
No, it's not. Oh. Aiden's a little disappointed that it's not billowing. He feels like a superhero. He should just be standing there and having his cape blowing behind him.
Nope.
I like blow on you to like try and help make the cape glow a little.
Aiden is going to plant his staff in the ground and stand on it and balance and see if the cloak grows to meet the length of the staff.
It does not.
I thought he was going to cast another spell again or fall over. Do you
He'll probably do a little bit of both.
magical means to try to identify the properties?
Oh, I did cast Identify on it, did I not?
Oh, did you?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I will.
All right. Well, I did not hear I'm going to cast Detect Magic or cast Identify. So I was letting that go.
I'll sit down. I'll sit down and study it for however long Identify takes to cast as a ritual.
It's like 10 or 11 minutes total. So you go through the process. It is a cloak of protection.
Nice.
All right. Well, knowing that, I'm just going to firmly hold it around myself as though I'm going to keep it.
All right. So it takes a short rest to attune. But once it's attuned, it is a cloak of protection +1. +1 to AC and saves.
Oh.
I'm actually not against a short rest if you want to attune that.
Oh, I could happily take a little nap. I'm going to climb under the table and stroke my cloak longingly.
Nice, rich velvet, deep, dark cloak.
Seeing that everybody's getting ready to sit down and rest, Fritjof will stop from... He's cleaning his sword off with a bit of a tablecloth that's still on the table. He'll swing it with a flourish, putting it back in its scabbard, picking up a chair in stride, and just basically trapping the chair underneath the doorknob, closing the door into this room.
All right, so you grab one of the cloth napkins that's still folded and clean to clean up what you were dealing with, and then are able to easily pin the chair into the door. The unmoving dead remain unmoving. Some of you are like, maybe this wasn't the best room to rest in with the mangled corpses that you've left here. But
is there windows
in this room? No.
If you're hungry, there's plenty of food.
Since we've entered into the house, a couple of you would probably realize that the dead don't smell much worse than Fritjof and Ingolf after being in the rain for so long.
Sidebar, I know Ingolf is hurt. I want to heal him before we close out.
We can. Ingolf does have some hit dice for the short rest if you would like to heal, or we can...
We'll see what the short rest does, and if he still needs healing after that, then I'll heal him.
Cool.
All right, so you guys can spend your hit dice as you see fit. Your rest does go undisturbed. You came in through this room off the stairs, and there are 3 other doors off of this room.
All right. Well, I am thoroughly engrossed in my robe, so there is, or cloak rather. So there's nothing I'm going to do about that.
Last time, so it's somebody else's turn to pick the door we choose.
Ingolf does a well enough job licking wounds during the rest.
So I believe the earlier consensus was always go left, right?
Always left. Keep my left hand on the wall and keep walking.
So as you go left, was there anything else anyone wanted to do before you headed off in the next room?
How much lighting's actually in this manor as we're going through it? I know I've got my lantern going, but is there like torches or sconces or anything?
There are sconces, but there are none of the rooms are lit. Nothing is active short of what you guys do to produce light.
I will actually light some of the sconces as we go. This way we can tell where we've been and where we're coming from.
Okay.
Nice thinking, man.
So as you go into the doorway, you find yourself in a vast, long hall that is an indoor gardens. There is a a large pond that clearly has had water pumped from a stream down below to fuel this. It's got a statue that spouts the water and keeps a current moving. You're a little sickened to see fish partially rotted and bones visible swimming through the stream. Well-tended gardens, though, adorn the hall. Sturgis' extravagance in this effort to please his bride in full bloom within this room. Rare plants have been transported indoors around a freshwater stream fed up through a grate in the floor. A statue of a beautiful woman stands in the midst of the water. You see a well dressed, much more so than any of the other noblemen or noble folk that you've encountered. Sitting upon a rocking chair in his finest livery, must be none other than the master of this hall. In a circle of bone is a woman withered to the point of dehydration, starvation. In also fine livery, long flowing dark hair. Must be the mistress of the house, though she still clings to life. Slowly, fiddling
Wait,
with
she's actually alive?
She is alive.
Ooh.
In a ring of bones, and sitting in a rocking chair is this undead creature in fine livery. A ring adorns one of his hands, and he sits there and rocks in the chair, muttering something as he fiddles with the ring over and over again, staring straight at the woman in front of him.
I doubt any of this is good.
How wide is the room?
The room is 20 foot wide. By 50 feet long. You guys are about 40 feet away from him. There's plants in the stream, intertwined through the room.
Hold on just a second.
Yep. So what are the rest of you look? Yep.
Yeah, while he's talking to someone IRL, I just want to mention that Anwin is gonna try to protect this woman. If she's still actually alive and not undead, my first priority is going to be getting to her and making sure she stays that way.
Yeah, she looks like, albeit small. She clings to life, but she is legit alive.
Lance is going to try and, with his limited arcane knowledge, try to figure out if he's casting some sort of spell to decompose her.
All right, if you wish to make a check.
Yeah, and he's got no idea. So he just turns to Fritz off and say, should we question him first, or would you just rather kill the dead abomination now?
He'll kind of glance over his shoulder at the wee one. Aiden, did you have anything to say before Fritjof ruins the situation?
You're muted.
Oh, I muted myself to unmuting myself. So actually, yeah, if you look back toward Aiden, he's kind of scooching back towards the door, and once he sees everyone's eyes on him, he just gets this really haunted look on his face. And he looks at the three of you and he says, I'm sorry. I never wanted to actually do this. There are worse things here than what you see, and I have to follow my orders. And with that, a wall of fire starts up along the sides of the walls and goes down and across and blocks you guys off from him
So Aiden's on one side with the door behind him, and you guys are blocked off with the undead and his wife, who he is performing the ritual
What
on.
the hell?
Fridtjof will spit on the ground, pulling a sword and flail from under his cloak and say, "Puh, mages, all the same slimy bastards."
Did you
And he'll
guys plan
point, he'll point his sword at the person on the throne and say, "You, are you the one who owns this manor?"
it too, Asa?
This was entirely promptu. I did not talk to Ted about this ahead of time.
So the creature in the rocking chair, he stands tall, and he stands up, and as he does so, his presence seems to creep out, before him, taking up more space than it should. I don't know if you guys want to roll initiative or not, but it might be a good idea.
Might be safe.
I think so.
I'll roll the initiative, but I'm gonna kind of bow out.
How
10.
tall is the wall of fire, by the way, Eden? Or Issa?
What's that?
How tall is the wall of fire?
It's 20 feet tall.
Oh, that's way out of my jump range.
You could go through it.
I could, which is being considered.
Alright, we got 15 is Lance.
So I'm gonna, since I'm not, my turn will be to move out of that room into the next room. So since I'm not actually gonna be in this part of the combat for right now, I'm gonna step out for a minute. I'll be right back.
Okay. Oh, I feel. Okay,
As that happens and Fritjof raises the sword. Oh, I imagine he's going to have some discourse. Yeah, continue.
I'm just trying to put things in order. I apologize.
No worries. Take your time. Take your time. He's a big baddie. He needs his monologue. I get it.
So I just was actually putting an initiative order down so that as anything scrolls in the chat, I don't miss anything. So the creature, stands up and fools. You think that your trifling here will do anything to my plans? He puts his hands out to the side, and swirling blacks and purple energy encases his hands as he begins, stepping towards you guys. His steps don't match the distance that he covers. As he approaches, the room just kind of like shrinks in upon itself, so that it only takes about 3 or 4 strides, and he's right in front of you.
Oh, good. We don't have to go through the fire. Even better.
No, the fire is behind you.
Yeah, it's separating.
It's blocking your escape.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that the few the few exits off of this room are covered in flames, so that you don't have the ability to get away. Was the idea that he was trying to do.
Oh, I thought he had circled all of us and to separate us from the living.
No. He separated himself from you guys and the door.
Yeah. He gave us the old tart. Fritjof with a bellow, brandishing both weapons, without looking at Lance, will say, "Flay the skin off the traitor. I will take this. Ingolf, at my side." And you'll hear a growl.
Alright, so there are 4 of you. So 4. First one's going to be at the wolf. That is going to hit. Please make a Constitution saving throw.
Stop hitting my dog. 9er.
9. Alright. This guy hurts. 9. So that is 18 points of bludgeoning and necrotic damage, all told.
Okay.
I just want to point out when he made the sad noise, like the sad wounded dog noise, I like squeaked a little bit, and my dog looked at me all concerned. So now I'm actually about to go down.
All dogs, real and fantasy, are concerned at this point.
So,
Ted,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt. While he was doing his monologue, would it have been possible for me to use my know your enemy ability, which is to study him for 1 minute outside of combat?
No, he just he spoke as he moved forward and punched. I didn't sit here and do a long monologue. I did a sentence.
It was your chance.
It takes a minute to do that ability. That's really hard to do when combat is actually happening. But I understand your point. But Lance, you're up.
All right. Let's see. Well, I can't get through the fire because it's too high to jump. What a waste of putting all those points into athletics.
Only if you want to flee or
No, I would rather kill the weird thing to see if I can save the woman that's being withered. So I am going to use the dash attack again and hopefully see if I hit. And if I hit, I'm going to attempt to do something neat. Maybe. I hope. So let's see. So he will rush in. AC 17.
Oh yeah, this guy's not wearing armor, so you have no problem hitting him.
Oh, I love when they don't have armor. So I will do a trip attack. So he has to make a DC 14 save or be knocked prone.
What am I making? Dex strength?
Should be strength.
I'm going to assume strength, but it doesn't actually say. It says down here.
I got you, fam. I'll look it up.
Strength or dexterity, and my strength is higher, so yeah, it would be strength.
Right. Yeah, he makes that without a problem.
Crap. He does, however, take a whopping 25 damage.
That is noticeable.
Yeah, trip attack is strength saving throw.
Yeah, so Lance basically went in and just sort of spun around and tried to catch him in the back of the knee with his long sword, but didn't quite take him down.
All right, so next is Anwen.
Sorry, I muted myself. Okay. So this thing, like, how is the layout of the room? Can I catch this thing in a 5-foot square without hurting my allies?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then in that case, I am going to cast Call Lightning.
Okay.
And it is not a natural storm this time, so that's only 3d10, and it gets a dex save of 17. That's 21 if it fails, and half as much if it succeeds.
Is it 15 saving throw, not 17?
Wait, maybe. Hold on. Let me. I actually know where that. Yeah, it's 15. My bad.
Doesn't matter. He failed.
Everything else is 17. Like, my AC is 17. My passive is 17. That was my mistake. My bad.
No, that's fine.
Yes. So 21 damage. And that's turn.
Nice.
So mad.
All right, so Fritzschoff, you're up.
All right. With a bellow, he'll yell out, Ingolf! Raging undertow, crashing wave! Ingolf will go low for this, trying to strike at its ankles. Be 25 to hit with a massive 7 damage. And a DC 11 strength saving throw to avoid prone blocks.
And Megan, do you remember what that damage was again? Got caught up in something.
It was 21.
21. And 11 strength save?
Yes, please.
He easily doesn't move from the attack.
Now, Drudder, as Ingolf goes for the low, Fritjof will jump and try to plunge a longsword into this thing's chest with a 22 to hit and 10 damage. Then, with a swinging flail to the side of the head, a 17 to hit and 4 damage.
So the the creature reels back, and some of the energy from from his hands swirls up as he begins you speaking and calling upon this energy, and he directs his hand at Lance. I need a wisdom saving throw, sir.
I was afraid of that son of a. That's not horrible. That might not be enough, but it's not horrible. Where's that on the stupid sheet? Oh. 14.
So, his words seep into your mind, and you have been enthralled, sir.
Oh, shite.
So you can make a wisdom saving throw on each of your turns to regain control. But until such time, your remaining companions pretty much look like your enemies.
Okay, Lance is visibly shaking his head like something's weird, but he's not said anything.
And you're up.
I'm going to try and break that hold. I hope. And that is a 17 this time.
All right, so you are able to shake it off, but for a moment you looked at your companions with murderous hate. Which one did you look at to potentially threaten?
With the most anger right now, it would have been Aiden, because Aiden threw the fire.
No. You would have. It would not have been Aiden. Number one, he's not in the room. It would have been Anwin, Fritjof, or Engel.
Probably would have been Fritjof, just because I know he can do on par or more damage than me.
Okay.
So, I am going to lay into him with 2 attacks. Stupid necromancer. Let's see, that's AC 15 and AC 17.
The 17 hits. Yep.
Okay. So, I didn't break mind control then.
No, you get it at the end of your turn.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh.
Yeah, you still attack at an ally as normal, but then you'll break it afterwards.
Oh. On an upside, I rolled minimum damage. That's only 6.
Okay.
All right, so 6 damage to Fritjof. Unwin, you're up.
Lance just looks confused as to why he hits Fritjof.
Let me check my spell slots really quick, because I mean, if all of my healing spells go to the dog this time, it's serious. No, I'm cure woundsing the dog. I think I have enough that I can do this. That poor doggo, I feel so bad.
Hey man, it's a tank.
Well, not really. I mean, it's only got 32 hit points.
It's successfully tanking though. It's taking the most damage by far.
That's 17 again. So.
Okay, thank you. The job of the tank is to stay alive after damage, not to not take it.
All right, so Anwin, are you just healing? All right, so Fritzoff, you're up.
Okay.
Megan, let us know who you heal and for how much.
It was
17 for the dog.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Ingolf will keep attacking the foe with a 24 to hit, and that would be 9 damage and a DC 11 strength saving throw, please.
He's got no problem staying on his feet.
Okay. Fritjof, feeling a weapon at the back, will turn and say, "Another traitor!" And
I don't
will
think I am.
will begin
But-
to raise a weapon, but seeing Lance's confused notion, will put it together and instead twirl the longsword and stab behind him at the foe, his original foe.
All right, with that description, I'm going to give you disadvantage on that.
All right, let's do that. That'll be a 16 to hit
Still
and
hits.
10 damage.
Look cool.
And then with a quick turnaround, he'll hit with the flail, but it'll go again. Basically, the chain on this thing's arm because it's such low damage. But 18 to hit, but 4 damage.
All right. Aiden, are you looking to rejoin the fight in some way, shape, or form? Now that your house is no longer on fire?
Yeah. Thank God. At the moment, no. Aiden's got some of his own problems he's dealing with in the next room.
Okay.
Actually, if we want for narrative purposes, I can bring it up.
If you want to, bring it up, go for it.
Yeah. Okay. So once Aiden enters the next room, he finds himself quickly face to face with Rendon, who picks him up by the throat and puts his longsword up to Aiden's gut, and a feminine voice comes out of the helmet and says, "This had better work. The ritual had better be completed."
Brandon is a girl?
No.
No.
Oh. Oh.
All right. So, fighting against Fritzoff and Lance, the creature has managed to hold his own, but with some more swirling of dark energies, the creature materializes next to Anwen and proceeds to use that energy again on her. He actually swings twice, only manages to connect once. I will need
Okay, so... Oh, I'm not
go ahead.
Sircast anymore. Never mind.
What was that?
I'm not Sircast anymore. Never
Oh.
mind. Go on.
Ted, would that trigger my Sentinel ability, or would that just negate it because he didn't physically move?
He did not physically move. He vanished and reappeared. If you want to Arcana it, you can. But I need a Constitution saving throw from Anwen.
Okay. I'm a dwarf. That shouldn't be too hard.
That's an Arcana of 18, by the way, Ted.
All right, so it was Misty Step.
Oh, 11.
All right, so you take 17. So you take 25 points of damage, and as the necrotic damage from his fists slams into you and begins to open wounds, you see some of his flesh begin to knit back together.
Eek.
And that brings us to the Lance.
So, Lance is getting really irritated by these spellcasters. One throw up a wall of fire, one's teleporting. He's losing since 15 feet away now, you said?
Yeah, I mean you can still get to him, but like
just trying to
he
turn
moved to the other side so that he could pick on the healer.
So I'm going to move to flank him with Anwen
Okay.
and to get myself some advantage on the attacks. And hopefully I can at least trip the bugger.
Ted,
First attack is AC 16. And I'm going to try and trip him with it. So that's a DC 14 strength check.
He makes it. He's good.
He still takes 13 damage. Second attack is AC 22.
Okay.
And he takes an additional 12. And I'm going to action surge for 2 more attacks.
Okay, because you took a short rest and got it back. Yep.
Yep. And that's AC 20. It's just a dirty 20, not a natural 20.
Dirty 20.
He takes 6 damage from that. And the final... why couldn't you be 1 point higher? That's AC 20... Math sucks. 25?
Yeah. You guys have not missed a single attack all night, and you're still trying to add up numbers past 20.
And that's another 10 damage.
That moves to Unwin.
Okay, how are you guys looking health-wise?
You're the worst off.
Yeah, you're the only one that's actually been hit aside from the dog.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, I'm just gonna heal myself at level 1 because I don't get hit that often. So. Oh, never mind. Let me withdraw that. Guardian of Nature. I can do that. That's 10 temporary hit points, and then the area around me is difficult terrain. And I've got advantage on saves because I need that if that thing's gonna be attacking me. Like con saves, but that's what you asked me to make, right? So.
Yeah. Yes, it was a con save. All right, are you done on one?
Mm-hmm.
Fitzjeff, you're up.
Okay. Would I be wrong in assuming that because this thing has moved towards Onwin was trying to keep away from everything, so was relatively close to the firewall that's over there?
You're probably right, yeah.
Okay. Fritjof is going with a very storming demeanor. Turn to this thing, run towards it, and say, "Your fight is with me!" And with a massive shoulder barge, will replace one of his attacks with a shove, shoving it towards the fire.
Okay.
I'll use athletics. 15.
I have a 22.
I will replace my next one with another one. 16.
I have a 16 as well.
I think Tygo's the runner.
What is your modifier?
6.
You have a 22 strength?
No, mine is 16.
Oh, okay. So you have a 16 strength?
No, my athletics modifier, because shoving attempts are made with athletics.
Okay,
so...
I'm asking what is your strength?
Oh, my strength modifier is a 3.
Okay, all right. So you do not push him.
Okay. All right, then Ingolf will go in there and attack.
All right.
With a 18, and that is 12 damage. And then DC 11 strength saving throw. Someone's got to fail at once a session.
Still not yet. I'm trying to do math here. 13. All right, so, positioning. You guys are all now like right in this guy's face. The black and purple energy that's around his arms. It like kind of dances and swirls up his arms, around his torso, around his neck, and he emits it in this cone at the 4 of you. I need a Constitution save for all of you.
At least that's my good save for a change.
Megan, you're muted if you're trying to talk to us.
Okay, I was just checking the details of the spell because part of it was being able to move the spirit, so I wasn't sure if it was just straight up me or if everybody that was within like a certain range of it got the bonus, but I think it's just me. I've never played a druid before, so...
That's fine.
I have an 18 to my save.
Fritjof has a 4, Ingolf has a 17.
All right. What do you have, Megan?
17.
All right. So the DC was 16. If you pass, you take half damage. If you fail, you take a total of 30 necrotic damage.
Okay. I'm okay.
But he is, like he, as these wounds begin, again tearing and ripping on your flesh, you begin to see the flesh on him slowly begin to not knit back together, but he is looking severely beat up, and that brings us to Aiden. Are you doing anything at this moment?
Yes, I am. Aiden drops his head in the grasp of Rendon, and as he does, memories of the few days that he's had with his companions go through his mind, and he begins to realize that this isn't the first time he's done something like this before, and it's probably not the last time if he continues in the way that he lives. And he contemplates these moments and all the lives that have been lost at his hand and the people who are now dying because of his choice. And that is my turn.
All right. Lance, you're up. I thought you were frozen there for a second because you were like unmoving. I'm like, did we lose it?
It is a slow internet connection, but not usually that bad. I am going to... How close is he? Can I push him into the fire, or is that going to say go through somebody? Am I going to be bowling over Anwin at that point, or?
I mean, you can attempt. I mean, so far it seems like all attempts to move him physically have failed. The dog has been trying to trip him all night. I've
been trying to trip him.
Fritjof pushed him.
If it helps any, I would rather die than let this thing live, so...
I'm going to do 2 attacks to it, and hopefully they'll both connect. First attack is a 24, so it hits. And second attack is a nat 20.
All right.
And that is confirmed.
Wrong edition. There's no confirming here.
Sorry, I played Pathfinder on Tuesday. Old habit.
All right, so
I hate confirming critical.
So you can roll damage if you want, but pretty much tell me how you're doing this.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the first attack normally, but the second attack I was actually planning to use my pushing attack with.
Mm-hmm.
So I get the superiority die on it, and basically if he fails his strength check, I would send him flying 50 back.
What is your DC?
DC is 14.
The first time that I actually roll under a 10 on a strength check for this guy, he totally failed. So not only is your damage going to take him out, what is the damage on the wall of fire, Aiden?
It's a big one. I'll look it up for you.
The minor damage on the first attack is 10, and the crit damage is... Oh, God. Bear with me. These are a lot more numbers than I'm used to. 32?
Nice.
Wall of fire damage is 5d8.
So, between the critical, the wall of fire, like this guy, falls and does not get back up.
So
you're now left with an unmoving foe, a wall of fire, and a withered woman in a circle of bone.
If you
I heal her! I still have a spell slot left to do that!
Fritjof is going to pull his cloak furs around him tightly and leap through the flames.
I'm going to try and stop him before he does that. Just, not that that's a bad idea, but if you wet your cloak first in the foul waters, then it probably won't burn as bad and you won't ruin the hide.
Prithyof continues his jump.
Okay.
Is combat officially over then? In that regard?
I'm trying to make it not.
Oh,
He's coming after you, Aiden.
no, that's fine. So, I'll say the wall of fire kind of dies down at the same time that Aiden looks up at Rendon and shouts, "I will not be held under your thumb any longer!" And then he pushes his hands forward into the skeleton's chest.
Okay.
And casts magic missile at 4th level for 25 damage.
Okay. So this thing, reels back, taking, strike after strike. 5th level, that would be 7 missiles, I believe.
Yes.
So, the dense, reel, and you can see the 7 impacts into the torso of this creature. And as Fritjof, charges through the door, you see the missiles striking, coming from the gnome, striking the zombie as it lifts up its sword to bring it down upon the gnome. Are we re-rolling initiative? Do we want to keep the same order? How are we doing this, gentlemen?
I'm fine. I'm fine keeping initiative the way it is.
I'm fine keeping the same order too.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Fritjof is going to be storming forward, his cloak smoldering with necrotic energy from just a few seconds ago, and he is have the look of a storm raging on his face as he bounds towards you.
All right, so
I'm going to squeak out, "Spare him, please."
All right, so Fritjof, it's going to be your action. Are you going after the gnome? Or are you going after the creature in plate mail? What are you doing?
I mean, unless anything happens differently with Aiden, he's going directly for Aiden with a long sword, ready to thrust.
Well, roll it up.
All right, yeah, he sees no reason not to stab the poor thing.
Yeah.
All right, luckily, first bad roll of the night. That is a 10 to hit.
Oh, that's a miss.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, well then the flail that you weren't expecting comes on the other side. And with a clobber knock, that's a 23. You'll take. Go ahead.
I'm gonna throw up a shield trying to prevent that, but the flail breaks through the magical barrier nonetheless.
Okay. Well, yeah, with an ethereal crack from it, you'll take 6 damage. And then you'll see, you'll hear it say, "You will not run." And I'll cast with a bonus action Hunter's Mark onto him.
Okay.
And that'll be my turn.
All right, so then, Asa, you are up.
All right. I'll
And we
look
have
up.
dog attacks camera again. Is he carrying the camera?
I kind of think he ran off with it, yeah.
Fritjof, I do not expect you to understand, but I am truly sorry for my actions. Please don't make me defend myself. I don't wish to die.
Is anybody else taking actions, or is this just he and I?
I'll get in between you if it's necessary.
Well,
Before Lance changes rooms, he's going to stop and grab the ring off the wizard's finger and then go across.
I'm going to hold my turn.
Lance, make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, shit.
Nice.
I'm going to hold my action, and if Fritjof attacks me, I'm going to turn invisible.
16?
All right, so you feel multiple minds reaching through the ring, attempting to seize control. You hear a trio of female voices, speaking, trying to lure you into its clutches, but you shake it off and drop the ring.
Yeah, Lance. Oh hell no! He just tosses it aside.
So that would have been like your interact with object because it was essentially unattended. Uh, do you wish to move? Do you want to do anything else?
How much have I overheard from Fritzoff and
I would imagine
Aiden?
you heard it all. There's nothing else going on. I mean, you heard combat. You heard Aiden essentially pleading.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the other room. Is the skeleton down?
No, the
Does
skeleton
it
is
look hostile?
it's bringing a long sword. It's readying a strike to swing at Aiden.
Okay, I need Aiden alive. Questions answered, so I'm going to strike the skeleton.
All
I'm
right.
going to use. I'm actually going to use my
Sure,
action.
you guys
Using,
didn't plan this in advance.
No, we did. We totally did. I was being sarcastic.
AC 20 on the skeleton. It's a dirty 20 again.
Yeah.
And I am going to use trip attack when I strike it. So that is DC 14 for it. Just stay up.
He's Fort. You're funny. Yeah, he stays up.
Damn it. He does take from the dash attack 22 damage.
All right, so he crumples. You see, similar energies, not to the same levels of Master Sturgis, but black and purple energies, swirl around the armor as the thing collapses to the ground. The helmet visor winds up falling open, and you see a decayed husk of some large humanoid, but certainly not human, with inside. Its sword drops to the ground at its feet and is no longer moving. Anwin, what are you doing?
Okay, I am between the gnome and and the big guy, and I'm like holding up my hands, and I'm like, listen, you fell prey to it too. You were swinging at people. He didn't mean it. Give him the benefit of the doubt, please.
Which big guy are you between? Because I think Fritzoff and I are probably pretty close to this. So, okay.
I'm like
Aiden-
tearing up a little bit.
Aiden seeing Rendon like fall lifeless, kind of like lets out a sigh of relief.
As he falls, no one else notices this, but you hear, Aiden, again, the three voices kind of, laughing and just echoes in your mind. That was just a puppet. So, what are you guys doing? I mean, do you guys joint lay down arms? Do you talk it out?
So even Fritjof's cold heart softens at the sight of this young dwarf abasing herself and pleading. He, with a sword arm high, and Aiden kind of probably wincing a little bit, ready for it to come, Fritjof will turn it and slam it into the ground and just bellow and growl. Talk, wee one.
I too would like an explanation.
And I look back at him because I've done my best here. It's all on you now.
I will explain everything, but first, where's the ring? We should deal with the ring.
The ring is in the other room. I went to pick it up, and I heard voices trying to talk to my head, so I tossed it aside.
Yes.
I'll go. You talk to
No.
them. And
No,
I'll
no,
go
no.
get it.
No.
Okay, I'll stop.
I am already under their thumb. There's nothing that can be done for that. Something bad will happen to me at some point, but I should not curse you any longer. Let me take on this responsibility of the ring till we can find a way of destroying it.
And if you're lying, I will be that bad thing.
Yes.
We'll
I
flip
think
for
that's
it.
fair.
But I will explain everything. All the things that I have done and everything that has led us here. We must leave, though. This place is not safe for us, and I fear the butler is no longer under my control.
As we're leaving, I offer Fritjof a drink from my flask. My apologies for the strike earlier. My mind was not my own.
He'll take it happily, and wiping his beard from the alcohol that dropped onto it, he'll say, "Worry not. I've suffered a traitor once, but I will not suffer a traitor twice."
So what are you guys doing?
So, in my perspective, we are gathering up the ring, at least Aiden is, and leaving the manor. Hopefully in a way that avoids any more conflict, but...
Lance offers a bag so you don't have to touch the ring directly.
I have 4 more spell slots, so if anybody else is hurt, I can take care of that.
So I have one question that I think needs to be asking. What are you doing with the woman in the circle?
One of those skill slots is going to her for sure. Like the 3rd level one, probably, because she needs it.
I'm going to attempt a medicine check on her, just to see if there's anything lingering, like if she's diseased or something from the spell, or with all the bones.
She's had life force necrotically drained from her. Without needing to roll a die, she needs food, she needs water, and she needs to be not around necromantic magic.
Okay. I give her some of my rations and some water, and attempt to carry her out, at least over to Anwin to heal her.
So if you've ever seen, someone who is withered from lack of nourishment, that's what you're seeing. They're barely flesh upon her bones. Her voice is too weak to even speak. She tries, and you almost get that gut reaction of like an undead trying to talk.
So that's 19 to heal her, and then I'll give her what's left in my water skin.
She can stomach the water much easier than any kind of trail rations.
Mm-hmm.
But
Again.
if you Anwin, I'm assuming you have medicine and nature and that kind of stuff.
Survival.
So survival would work as well. You know that she's got a long road to recovery, and like nothing that's gonna
with me and take care of her.
Nothing that's going to require any serious chewing. She needs to just swallow. So broth, soups, that stuff is what she's really going to need to have any real chance of life.
Mortar and pestle?
I mean, if you want to get her out of here and then try and do something, that'll be fine.
Yes, please.
You have no problems, making it out of the manor. You can go, through, down the stairs and right out the front door. Sneak past, the lone butler that was sent elsewhere, and without investigating any further new rooms. And then you don't have to go back through the graveyard. You can take the trail into town. But you're kind of amazed that there's any life left in her, considering how far gone she is. But go ahead.
I was just going to say, I wrap her in a blanket before we take her out to the elements, just because she's already that withered. The last thing we need is her getting the pneumonia or something as we try and get her back to town.
Yeah. And Aiden will explain on their travel back to town just everything about the 3 hags which have created this curse in the first place.
Did you say 3 hags?
I believe that's correct. What he knew of the ritual itself and the attempts with Megan's hating on hags.
So,
for good reason.
So
Aiden, my short people.
Aiden goes in and explains that it was actually all prompted by Master Sturgis, who was so caught up in his own nobility and his own arrogance that as he got further on in life and realized that his own mortality was there, he was doing everything he possibly could to find ways to prolong his life. he made a deal with these hags, this coven, and without explaining what it was, they offered him a way to continue his life, and it was through creating this ring. He thought nothing of slaughtering his servants, collecting these dark items, and donning this ring that was made. He faked his own death. He was put in his tomb, and he woke up wearing this ring, and thereabout, this ring, with someone who enacted this ritual, caused this ripple of necromantic energy, causing the dead to rise. No more should arise, but those that have will still need to be put down.
And I too fell into a similar trap, which is why this ring is mine to carry and destroy. It is my burden and my curse, and I can only apologize for the things that I have done. I cannot change them, and I will never be able to make up for them.
So
I believe
What
you,
if
and I'll
we
go
just
with you.
melted down the ring?
It seems like the right thing to do.
I'm not suggesting sending you to a fiery volcano, but maybe a smithy or something.
You'd only have to lose a finger.
Will you come across mighty beast and foul aberrations when getting rid of this ring?
There will always be mighty beasts and foul apparitions.
Then I will crush them.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have the shortened version of the cool RPG crate material. As I said in the beginning, this is the kind of stuff that comes in every single RPG crate delivered to you. There's awesome maps. There's loads of cool material. And this is only a small portion thereof, because I didn't touch one of the cards at all, which was Weathering the Storm, which had some awesome adventures. You guys missed out on fighting a cool undead brawler, a grave golem. You fought a waterlogged zombie. The entire house you had just really the one short encounter that I summed up, and the encounter with Master Sturgis. But there was plenty of other things to fight. And had you gone further into the graveyard, you could have fought an undead bear. That was pretty cool. Banshees and all kinds of wonderful stuff. So trying to trim this down into a few hours, it's really about 6 to 8 hours worth of material. So easily 1 to 2 sessions, and they're lots of fun to run. So if you want to get your crate and these adventures, as well as all the other cool stuff that RPG Crate comes with, down in the description below, you got the link, as well as the promo code Nerdarchy RPG Crate for 10% off. Thank you guys for playing. We have our cool authors and Jake that joined us this evening. So until next time, stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.
No good necromancers.
Have a great night, everybody.